Hi, I'm Alida Francis, Digital Director at Malaysia Digital, and today we want to talk to you about the importance of a collaborated digital team. And we've got our team experts with us today. We've got Linda, she's a very passionate UX UI designer.
Hi.
And also Faye, she's the SEO expert and I'm a visual strategist. So what we really want to uncover today is how important it is for that initial technological identification of when you're starting a project, so when you're thinking about a new website, how important it is to actually work with a knowledgeable team so you get maximum impact, I guess, from a project, because otherwise you're going to be looking at a lot of wastage from a dollar's point of view. So what we want to cover today is more around when you have a solid strategy, how do you come to that solid strategy? Everyone talks about digital strategy, right? We hear that a lot. So we want to talk to you today about how that all kind of fits in and how we structure projects. So we'll kick it off with Linda. In our workshops, we normally have what we call a foundational discovery session, and that really gives us an idea when we interact with the client to give us a bit of a dump or a business dump, brain dump around the core objectives and what are the goals and the end goals and the outcomes. So the design is the most important component.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
We'll try and elaborate around that. Tell us, Linda, firstly, I guess, why you became a UX designer.
So I started off with a background in marketing and I kind of moved into graphic design. So I'm very passionate about the visual aspect of design, what you see, but also at the same time how it impacts on your business results. And I think user experience design is a perfect merge between those two, because you're looking at creating or designing a website that is user friendly and basically is a great experience for humans. And surprisingly, there's a lot of websites out there or web applications that may lack that. So I'm really excited to be in that space.
And I guess today we see it a lot when we're optimizing, digital projects, particularly websites, and optimization is a lot of different things, which we'll try and explain to you in this session, but less and less attention span, I guess, from a user point of view, and that's why having that framework and having that design is really, really critical. So what is the state? 7 seconds or less you have to interact from someone actually, finding you on search and then clicking onto your page. So you've got about 7 seconds, which is not a lot. So that is your job, to actually keep them engaged and captivated. So what is the difference between UI and UX design? We hear these acronyms thrown around quite a lot. Can you quickly tell us what the difference is?
Well, it's very simple. User experience is a very broad term. It incorporates many different skill sets and areas. UI design stands for user interface design. It's basically
user interface.
Yeah, user interface. So the surface, what you see. It's design of specific elements like buttons and navigation elements.
Yeah, we call them call to action buttons.
Yeah.
Which is really important.
Yeah, but user experience is a broad term. A user experience designer is typically T-shaped, so you might have a few skills in many different areas like coding, visual design, copy, but they might be really good in one specific area.
Sure.
Yeah.
And UX, obviously, that user experience, which Linda talked about before,
the
importance of that. And that's where I guess from when we look at SEO and to elaborate on SEO, it's search engine optimization, which is the organic link across search engines. That's when we need to collaborate. So when Linda kicks off the design and we start looking at the wireframing and setting up all the navigations of a page, then Faye comes in and needs to really figure out what those keywords and what those keyword triggers are that the website's actually going to be ranked. Yeah. So do you think that that's really important to be involved at that early stage? Because a lot of, I guess, businesses and potential customers that we deal with don't actually understand the connection between the importance of a collaborated team to get that digital asset working.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think the reason why it's important to start from working with the designer and the strategist from the beginning is because otherwise you can end up with a website that looks amazing, but in terms of the copy and your keyword ranking, it's all over the place. So like you're sending people to the wrong pages, or people can find that you just dump a lot of keywords on one page, and then you get that page to rank somehow. and that page is not relevant to those keywords. So then, your design might be amazing, but it wasn't built with those keywords in mind or with those services really in mind. So people then just jump out.
So relevance is a really big part of what we do when we optimize the site. So what we mean about optimization is getting those keyword triggers set up straight away in the design process. So when we design a website and we know kind of the layout of the pages and navigation, or maybe your home page or contact us page of about us, or whatever that may look like, the actual, what would you call it?
The bones of
the skeleton, that's right,
Yeah.
of the actual website, then we really need to think at that point how important keywords and SEO is going to be. That's when we develop what we call an on-page SEO keyword strategy. So we'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But back to, I guess, design, it's what would be your kind of biggest challenge in approaching and looking at a design concept? Because a lot of clients come in and go, I just want it to look pretty. I just want it to look nice. But there's so much more to it than just a nice design. And as we know, there's so many different elements. We call it the back-end function of our website. It's so critical.
There's so many trends, design trends coming up, and people look at that and think, I want that feature or that feature or that. But we often don't realize that every little sparkly thing you put on there can slow down the website.
Like big video files, for example, or images that are not optimized. So a perfect example, we have a lot of very heavy image-based websites out there which look beautiful, but then it affects the loading and the speed time if it's not optimized. So part of SEO, or back-end optimization, is to make sure that that is optimized, the images are actually loading and are referenced so that search engines can actually find what they're looking for, which a lot of people forget. So what are some of the design trends?
Well, right now, parallax scrolling in websites, and some people say that you probably shouldn't do that for mobile sites because it can slow down your website a little. Just got to be careful about typography, making sure the fonts are visible enough for your target audience, because not every person who's going to go onto your website is going to be the young and hip, really cool into trendy design and things. You're going to have to look at what design suits your specific target audience.
Cool. And Faye, what would you say is a good on-page SEO? I know that's a very broad question. Well, what's a good on-page SEO?
I think first it would be to know where is the homepage for each keyword. So like if you have, your business as an electrician and you provide different electrician services, then each service should have its own page. With that in mind, so when you're building the website, when you're creating the strategies, if you have that in mind, then you end up with a website that it's all the different elements go well together. I think that should be the first thing that you think when you're thinking about optimizing your website. Then the speed is always important. How the website's being indexed, it's really good, and a really good place to see that it's using webmaster tools. It's free.
Tool.
It's a Google tool.
Google Webmaster, fantastic.
So I think that's sort of one of the three first things you should check is to know what keywords you have and where, how fast is your website loading, because then people otherwise will not wait, and just leave your website before it loads entirely, and check how the website's been indexed using webmaster tools.
So why do you think it's hard for businesses to understand the importance of ongoing and monthly SEO optimization? Because they sometimes feel like it's a big investment, but really it's something that it naturally sees. It's not a physical thing unless they're getting ranked on page one. So why do you think it's such a challenge for them to actually understand?
I think that's probably a challenge that you don't see what the person's doing. So like you're not paying for something tangible. Like for example, a website. You pay for a website, you get a website.
You see it.
And you see it, exactly. And SEO, you don't see it until you rank. And sometimes you're not on page one. You might be on top of page two, and then it's like, what am I paying for? And I think that's sort of one of the biggest reasons why a lot of people don't understand, don't want to invest in SEO. But I think the reason why you should invest in SEO is because if people can find you, then you don't exist. And the on-site optimization, which you should always do even if you don't want to do ongoing, what that will do is that would help search engines understand your website but not necessarily help you rank.
Yeah, and
And-
index. So
yeah.
there's a few different areas to look at, and it's a very good point that you say. Is it's all good and well having a beautiful website
Yeah.
that Linda might design, but then if you don't influence it through SEO, or search engine optimization, which is giving it relevant keywords and freshening up your content. So every time you load a new image or a new blog, you need to ensure that search engines are going to find that content, and that's what gives you the difference in rank and things like that. So we can talk about this all day, because I guess we're all so passionate about it. But today was just an introduction to the importance, I guess, of getting together initially and really laying those foundations to figure out exactly what your objectives are for your website or a digital project and a strategy. So I guess in summary, it's you really need to figure out not just the pretty side of
Yeah.
website design or the look and feel. It's more in the practical and technical aspects. Is your content management system or your CMS going to be able to give you longevity for your business and what you require, what your actual business goals are, and how the website and the digital goals are going to marry up? And then what is that SEO strategy, and what is the long-term vision for the business, and how that can be influenced and implemented? And looking at competitors, I mean, for me as a strategist, I have to look at the broader picture and the whole, I think, a whole thing to just make sure that once we do have the website, once we do have the SEO strategy, that everything else is actually going to work. And for me, it's all about conversions and having those components on the website tracked. So tracking and conversions is really, really critical once everything else is completed. So just make sure that as a team we need to try and minimize future risk for your business. But thank you for your time today, and we'll chat to you soon about more exciting digital topics.